What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Suede Rabbit Hole, episode 21. Got a new guest today. And
Hey.
before we get into, how I like to do it, I like to ask a couple questions. So, for my first question, if you had to, if you can go to any point in time, what point in time would you go at? And why?
Honestly, I will go back to being a kid. Like, I would have to say around in between the ages of like 8 and 15.
8:15?
Because I want to say those was like the best times.
Okay.
And why? Because I had my grandmother, my aunt, and my uncle. And it was just a time where I just got good memories within that time frame.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's like now I'm just like, being an adult sucks.
Yeah.
It was easier then. So if anything, I would say that time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's the first question. Second question, if you can visit at any point in time, like let's say future to past, and you can visit, like if you could go there, what point in time would you actually go to?
Ooh. Mm. That's a good one, Dream. I don't know. Let me see. Oh. I don't know. That's hard. I've never been like, um, probably right after high school,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
do.
you'd be like your age. You'd go back. Okay. What,
Yeah.
if you don't mind me asking, what year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2008.
Okay. Same year. Same year.
Yes.
Nice.
90
Nice.
babies.
Well, what school did you go to?
I'm from LA, so I
Okay.
went to a charter school. It's called Animo South LA Charter High School. Ooh,
Okay.
I almost forgot. I'm getting old.
Oh no, you good.
But yeah. Yeah, I went to a charter school.
All right. All right.
Yes.
So like, what would you do in that time period if you're going back there? What would you?
If anything, I will make way more better decisions.
Okay.
Like, I lost my grandmother the same year I was in the 12th grade. So after that, I kind of just lost sight of a lot of shit and just kind of went with the flow with a lot of things.
Okay.
More so
understand that.
working off emotions composed to, being smart about things.
Okay. Okay. And for my last question, okay, my third question, if you were to like be in a zombie apocalypse situation and you can bring, I don't know why, I kind of like this question. So like, if you could bring 3 people with you, who would it be and why would you bring them?
3 people with me to be a zombie?
No, it's like during the zombie apocalypse. Let's say like shit gets real, people turn to zombie, you see someone's face get done. Like who you grabbing? First 3 people, who you grabbing?
Oh, like to save?
To like roll with, like this is your squad. Like you have 3 people that go
Okay,
with you.
squad.
Like, yeah.
I would have to say for sure number 1 will be Jenny.
Okay.
Okay, that's my number 1. Who else? My sister and my mom, probably so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're my gangsters.
For sure. That's what's up.
But for sure, Jenny will be my number 1. Like Jenny, yes, because that's my book. I love her.
All right. Well, Misha, first female guest on the show.
Woo woo.
Glad you can make it. Glad you can be here. So, after the question, usually like to do is I like to just kind of like tell us who you are. Who is Misha? What is Misha about?
To be honest, I'm still trying to find Misha. Like, I'm finna be 30 and still trying to figure it out. But for the most part, I'm a mom.
Okay.
Just trying to get it all in order. 29. It's not too much, really. Still trying to figure it out day by day.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I mean, what you see is what you get, pretty much, for the most part. I don't know. I can't, really go too deep into it because...
Understandable. Like, whatever you want to, I guess, talk about, you are free to. If it's something you don't want to bring up, understandable. You don't...
Yeah, for the most part, I'm just regular schmegs. Yeah.
Who who are your 5 current artists that you actually like to listen to right now? As of right now? I actually have
Okay.
another question. I'll let you answer that one. I'll ask you another one. But first, let's go with that one.
Okay, so my number one is Nipsey Hussle.
Okay.
I had to stop for a minute after he passed away, but that's my number one. Always been since forever. Second, I've been on Larry June lately.
Okay.
I really fuck with his music.
Yeah.
Like
I'm gonna have to look him up.
he's sending a message too. I like to listen to people who actually have something to say and don't really just say shit just to sell records.
Right,
Like
right.
I like people who motivate you to do something different. Like I'm from LA where mostly everybody is more so focused on hustling to look like something. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
To like
right.
put out this image that's what it's all about. But I don't want to teach my daughter nothing like that. Like I want her to, actually live her best life and like experience life, not just, live in the moment type
Right,
thing,
right.
which, cuz promise tomorrow not promise for nobody, so it's just like just live your best life, but be smart about it.
Okay.
So, I like them because they send a message and I'm a simp. So I like Summer Walker too.
Okay.
Well, she R&B though.
Still.
Yeah, I love her. And I like her because she's raw with her lyrics as well. I like when people have a message. And I love Anita Baker.
Okay.
I love oldies.
Okay. No, you're good.
Sometimes
You're
if you
good.
notice, if you even come to the back at work, I'll be back there singing and whatnot. So I love her. Who else do I listen to? I love Mozzie too. I don't know who else. I kind of listen to the same things over and over again.
So like, would you say like that you kind of listen to the same music that you did when you were younger, opposed to like today, or just kind of like?
Now, okay, so I grew up around my grandparents helped raise me. So I grew up around like older people and I love oldies. Like I'm an old soul at heart.
Okay.
So I love oldies. I really prefer to listen to oldies more than this new school because I feel like the new music ain't really talking about nothing.
Right.
Like they just switching it up and everybody talking about the same thing. They like not really saying too much or nothing.
I hear you. If anything, like what I've noticed, and this is some people have actually called me odd for saying this, but I think it's more of like generational. Like when you think about it, it's all kind of repetitive because technically it's just this person's interpretation, this person's story of what they experience and what they want and what they desire and so on. And that's kind of what I've noticed because like, and that kind of goes into like how I tell people, like for example, like issues going on in the world. I don't think as much as it's a new issue as much as we're older now.
Oh, definitely not.
So now we're actually because like you have a lot of people.
We're on the level where our parents used to be.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
which
So,
is true. But I can say like oldies is different because it's more soul in the music. Like you actually feel the emotion in the music. So I feel like the new music, you don't
right.
you don't
No,
fit. It's
I
not
get
a
it. I get
connect.
it.
So I don't
get
know.
it.
People be thinking I'm crazy when I break it down like that. But I'm just like
no.
I'm an emotional person. So I feel when people and music is like I don't know. That's just like my thing. So I relate more with people through music more than anything.
Okay.
So when it comes to music, I like to listen to things that's going, speak to me and not just be like, let's get high, do bars and all that.
Right.
Like, I don't like listening to music like that. Like,
Right.
that turns me off. Like, no, next. Next.
All right. Actually, so I was actually gonna ask this question too. Like, what? And actually, let me just say this real quick. So I liked how you kind of pointed out like the whole, like you say how you said you wanted your daughter to not just like exist, but like not exist, but live like, her life and like I just kind of like thought about one of like a quote. It was actually from Tyler Perry. I forgot what movie it was from, but it was like a movie that came out like I think like I want to say early 2000s, like before 2010. That time period happened, but like his quote was that like you can either are you existing or
Are
are
you
you
living?
living?
Yeah.
And it's like if you're just existing, you're just here, just living a life. You're not really doing
Wasting.
exactly. You're not
Yeah.
doing anything. And it's like more of you're living. You're enjoying every single moment, and you're doing what you want to do and pursuing what you're trying to pursue.
Exactly.
And I was like, that's deep, you know. And it's like a lot of people are existing right now, and it sucks because like I feel like as more and more time goes on, it's just like the world is being developed to where most people are just existing.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
like we're just living through other people's experiences. Like I guess a good way to go into that would be like, for example, gaming. For example, like somebody literally told me that. And I guess it's something they actually looked up to. I was blown away. I was like, "What?" I was like, "No, I didn't look it up." But
I heard that that's a
but-
sign of like depression or something like that, and I'm like, really? That's crazy.
Yeah, but like what they were saying was that like I'm pretty sure you heard about Fortnite, right? So they were
Right.
saying for a kid winning a game of battle royale in Fortnite can be compared to like a kid winning like a league and a team. It's
Really?
not crazy, like the excitement, the dopamines they get.
I would
from
be
that.
mad because it's just, I mean, not really, because gaming is an industry.
It's a culture now,
So it's
which is
just
nice.
like you can't knock it.
But at the
But
same time, it's
at
just
the
that.
same time, I don't want you to just focus on winning a certain level in the
Right,
game. You get what I'm
right.
saying? Like, I'm a type of person, like, I'm kind of like a jack of all trades. I try to dibble and dabble in everything. So it's just like, don't just be stuck in one thing.
Right.
So it's just like, that's me.
Right.
I wouldn't want to sit in front of no computer all day just, trying to master.
And honestly, I get it because like as for me, it's for one, like I can admit I'm a gamer at heart. Like I love my video games, like, but it's just like it's just crazy that how like in that sense can be compared to like doing like actual sports,
right,
and,
like being physical,
right, and then you can see it
and
like
interacting with other people.
exactly,
Yeah.
and it's crazy how like. And I kind of thought about it too because you have like UFC, for example, you have like NFL, like Madden, NBA 2K, and it's like.
But see, people don't get stuck on that as much as I feel like Fortnite.
I feel like in a sense, I don't know, man.
I feel like people get more stuck on actually watching live football composed to.
I feel like. For I could admit that I could admit to this too. There's been times where like I've heard people get mad. I've even got mad. I was like, God dang it, I got damn it 2K. Like you say 2K because you frustrated about me. Like
it do get a little heated.
But like it's crazy how like like and the thing about they're making like games like that be more like story driven, and I feel like it's coming off to where it's like they're trying to get people more immersed because like not everybody can do sports. Not everybody can, and that's. And the sad thing about it, I learned that as a kid is like that sports is really kind of a selective. You don't have genetically really have it. You really have to work extremely hard to get it, or because like I mean like, and I say
you gotta really want to be in that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just say, oh, now I'm gonna be a basketball player and think you're gonna, like, no, you gotta actually put your heart into it. Like, actually be dedicated to being the best at something. So that's more so what it is.
Right. And my thing behind it was just that, like, and kind of where I was going with that was just like, if you're not a certain height, like for example, basketball, for example, and I kind of like, and this is something I learned this in 8th grade. Like it was weird because like, for the coach only picked people who were taller on the team. And I was like, why is he only picking people? And his whole mindset was that, if they're taller, they'll score easier, they can dunk, they can do all these things. And typically when you look in the NBA, everyone's at least 6'3" or something like that.
But you got to look at Isaiah Thomas. He's short and he killing the game.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's your
too.
dedication. Yeah, like it's your dedication. Like other than that, because my brother played basketball, so it's just like I know some of his friends is shorter, but they really good. So it's more so.
I feel like if anything, they should make it to like anybody can kind of like if they have the skill,
don't just
they should
set it
be
off to
a certain height,
Certain,
yeah, and that's kind of like where my like, and I guess that's kind of why I kind of dislike sports just a little bit because it's like it's not fair.
Because it do discourage some people who not like super open. Like some people who are really quiet and reserved is going to intimidate them to kind of be around people who actually really good and just go straight into it. Because somebody, like you said, is natural born with that type of vibe with playing basketball, and some people like, oh, I like it, but I don't think I can do it. That's going to, intimidate them going against somebody who actually really good at it. So, I mean, I say just go for it. Don't knock it till you try it.
Right. And I feel like for the ones out there that kind of like, I don't know, it's just weird. I just feel like, and not even just like that, like just the more of like you were saying, like for the ones who actually have a chance, like I feel like they should like make it to like you can actually be 5'10" or whatever to be in the NBA
Like,
or
no,
like
actually.
I get like NFL where you have to be because they everybody's a hard hitter, and it's like I remember like I've done football,
You got to
in high
have a
school
certain
and
build.
right, and the thing is like that everybody works hard, and but it's like you could kind of get to where why they do that, I guess, more in NFL because if you're not that big, if somebody hits you one good time, you're
It's
done.
over.
That's that's
It's
that's it.
over.
I think somebody, it was years ago, but I remember hearing someone comparing to like getting hit by football players as like Daniel getting hit by someone like driving a car.
For real.
Yeah, like going. I forgot like the mile an hour. They kind of compared it to, but it's like getting hit by like a full
Damn.
lineman
I
or a
don't
line.
wanna be.
Yeah, you don't want to get hit by that. So it's like you kind of get why like at a certain point like they retire.
I mean, it is a dangerous sport, though,
Oh, yeah.
so it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, and one thing I don't like, see, me with sports, I never really was into it because I'm not competitive
Mhm.
when it comes to certain things like that, so it ain't for me. And some people be too competitive where they don't give a damn about hurting somebody.
Yeah.
I don't want to be nowhere around it.
Yeah. I
Like, I'm
yeah,
cool.
for
See,
sure.
so I don't know.
But actually, do you have a favorite sport?
Mm, I've played basketball when I was in middle school, but no, not really. I'm not really sportsy. Like, I play certain games,
Okay.
but now that I'm a little fat, I don't try it. I just be sitting on my ass drinking.
Well, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I mean, if I had to pick, I would say basketball because I'm pretty decent
Okay.
when I actually do try.
Okay.
But for the most part,
So, like me, like I was more of like I could get the ball from somebody. Like I didn't really practice my shot a whole lot, but later on I kind of got better at it. I actually had somebody actually show me a proper way to shoot. I would say that actually made my game a lot better when
For
it came to
real.
shooting. Yeah, because he was like, "This is how you want to shoot the ball," and I was like, "What? Let me see that." And like I used to shoot one handed, but now he's like we shoot kind of like with both hands, kind of like it was how he explained it, I
the little
never
tricks and trades.
yeah, and it's like I
yeah.
never and he was a college coach at one point.
Oh,
and,
for
and,
real?
and then like he just kind of like I can show you. I was like yeah, and then my shots got improved a
Oh,
lot.
see, that's what's up.
So I was like cool. So there most time when I actually just shoot, I don't even like jump. I just shoot free throws to
For
see
real?
yeah, just to practice that. But like I would say sport wise for me, it was weird. Now I'm not gonna say weird. Now I'm gonna say I even watched the video talking about like they should make tennis, which is a great but also a bad idea because I'm gonna get to that in a second. But like tennis, that's the sport I actually was into. Like
Yeah.
I actually even did a report on Serena
Oh, Serena
Williams
Williams.
and Venus, like both of them. The sisters, like I actually did a report on them as a kid because like they were
And
so
see,
cool.
now
Like, they
that's
were,
a sport. I mean, I've played at the park or something
yeah.
a couple times, but like really being into it and being intense with it, I've never. But like
It's
just
something.
yes, because
It's
you gotta run back and forth.
yes,
Like
yes.
I mean, I liked it because it was something to do, just cool. But actually, like taking it full on, that's dedication and really practicing
Right,
that. Like
right.
getting good and just working on your speed so you can go from
Yeah.
each side. But other than that.
I can admit like I realized that there was a lot of work involved in it.
It is.
And like it was I believe his name. Honestly, shout out to Gus. That's his name. I terrible person for that. But like no, it was one of my dad's old friends. Like when I was younger, like I'll admit my dad actually went on his way to actually talk to one of his because he actually like do tennis when he was younger. So he got a hold of him and we actually had a couple lessons with him, to see if I liked it. And it was
at least
cool.
you got to experience a little bit,
And it just really made me realize, that it's a lot of work, and I'm like, maybe I don't really like tennis that much.
All sports kind of is a lot of work.
Oh yeah, but like, I mean, like people don't really call it a sport, but like I would say my favorite like thing is martial arts. I love martial arts.
Really?
I have a passion for it. I've loved it since I was a kid. Like my first like thing obviously with martial art was like my first style was on taekwondo.
Okay, so I learned taekwondo in the 11th grade, 12th or 11th grade. I forgot what it was,
Okay.
but I mean, I didn't really take it that serious. It's just we got through it,
Okay.
but
I mean, like it comes in handy, like especially if you like take it seriously. It really does. Like I remember like my first confrontation, I got attacked by three kids. You know,
Really?
yeah, it was three. I was in second grade. It was two fourth graders and the fifth grade. They wanted to mess with me. 'Cause I was in special ed. They didn't care.
for
You
real.
know, and like I actually walked away from it. Like I to this day don't know how I did it. My brother watched it happen,
You had to.
and all he told me was that like when it happened, like it came at me, and then like everything I was moving on blocking or whatever, and one of them hit me in
That's
the mouth.
probably what I need
and
to
then, like,
do because I'll be ready to.
right, and then like what he said, what the moment was for me was that when I just went Bruce Lee because I tasted my own blood and I was like I just kind of lost it.
For
And
real.
I just whooped him after that, but it was crazy. But like later on, I went and learned Kempo.
Oh,
That was something I still to this day practice my blocks. Like
For real.
occasionally, like I'll use like weights because like, I want some type of resistance. 'Cause I feel like, and that's something like even like Karate Kid was actually really good about. Where they explain like in the movie like you want to block more than anything else because anybody can strike. You can anybody can learn how to do it. It's just more of how the proper way to do it to really hurt your opponent or stop your opponent from coming after you, whatever the case may be. But to be able to block will be very effective because it helps you be able to like if you were to block like karate, like dude, like their blocks are considered strikes. Like when they block like your hit, like it's
you
meant
blocking,
to.
but you trying to like
It's
hurt
meant
them.
it's meant to try to break your arm in the process. It's like a strike of its own. So like you may throw that punch, but your forearm
yeah.
it's gonna be hurting. So you'll think twice about throwing the second punch if you want. Same thing with like your kicks, whatever. Like so, and then like I know like when it comes to the Chinese, they were more evasive because they were smaller. So like and like I've done some research too to kind of understand why the styles were how they were, and they kind of explain
See,
this
my
is why
legs
they-
are strong too. I'll be good at that. I'll be like judo chop.
But like I would say like yeah, Kempo was really fun for me. Like it really was huge. Like I pretty much it was like a religion to me in a sense.
For
And, like,
real.
and honestly, like when it comes down to it, I'm honestly not surprised that martial arts is not a religion yet. If anything, it doesn't surprise me that you know how you have like temples in China, like those monks. It wouldn't surprise me if that was like a religion on its own because like you do have to be calm and like
It's like a meditation
yeah.
almost in a way.
And I feel like the reason why they do meditate, especially after the whole like process, because
so
like
you
you
can-
relax your body
Yeah,
because
your
you do
adrenaline is pumping.
It was like it sounds like you do feel like worked up a little bit, not opposed to like I'm gonna go hurt somebody, but like
But who
like,
next?
I gotta relax. I gotta calm down. I gotta I gotta just like keep it easy. And
Right.
that's kind of like what it is, and it's crazy, and it's
That's
like
crazy. I never do that.
and it's like there's been times where like I've been like hyped up like to a point where I'm like yeah, like he said, who is next? But it's
Yeah.
not that more like I'm looking for it, but I'm just mentally in that mind state where I'm like I'm ready to like fight it, but it's like
Yeah.
just take it easy.
Okay.
You don't fight nobody, but just
Like
calm
pipe down just
right?
a little bit.
So I kind of understand that, and then like and it's really just like and it's true like it's 20% physical and 80% mental. Like it's mostly just understanding the situation because sometimes
I think that's what all sports though.
yeah.
Like all sports is mostly mental because that's what's gonna motivate you to actually want to be the best and do your best.
And on top of that, because something I've learned, especially with like Albert, in martial arts, was that like no matter what you do, expect to be hit. Don't panic, because the moment you panic, everything you know and you learn is gonna be thrown away. The best way they explain it was that they don't care if you're a 10th degree black belt or 5th degree. If you panic, it's like swimming. If you panic in the water, you're gonna drown. Like,
Right.
that's it. You're not gonna know what you're doing. You're gonna just freaking.
And I almost
fail
drowned,
it.
and that was my thing. I was panicking, and it was almost over.
Yeah, so it's and that's kind of what they preach in there, and it's like it really like helps because it's true. You just gotta just stay calm.
I feel like every situation, if your mental is right,
You can
your
handle it.
reaction is
Exactly.
not gonna be drastic
Yeah.
where you gonna lose control.
Exactly.
So that's one thing I can say. That's one thing I've been working on just within the last 2 years. Like trying, it's hard sometimes with
Yes.
certain situations. Don't get
Yes.
me wrong. It's
Yes.
definitely a test. Every day is a test for me. But it's just like I'm getting there. I'm working on that mental. Like, don't react. Just breathe. Look at the situation, then react.
Right.
Like, don't just pay attention to things just to react.
Okay. So, have you listened to like any I guess current like events like for example, I guess I was listening to this video and there's one gentleman was talking about how like there are some artists like for example the artists will talk about like the stuff they've been through. Do you think it's like in a sense incriminating themselves when they talk about it?
Yes and no. It depends on how they saying it and what they're saying. Like for example, that one dude, Melly something, that got basically locked up for he ended up killing one of his friends and then wrote a song about it. And they use that as yes.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I mean, like they say, you ain't got to talk about it. If you did it, don't talk about it.
Right.
Take that shit to the grave with you.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
it's ways you can say you did things without actually saying you did things to let people know, like, I've been there, don't do that. So,
right.
I don't know. It's just the way you deliver your message, really.
True that. But
yes, that's a lot of that is going on in the new generation music. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I don't like listening to it, cause it's just too much with the drugs and all that. Like, no. Like, I didn't grow up on a lot of that. Like, we had rappers, but they wasn't talking about, like, gang banging. It's, like, hoeing, pimping, like, just doing the most now. So it's just like, we had, our granddaddies and all them had that little phase, but they wasn't bragging about it and like putting it all out there. Like one thing now is, and it's not just even with rap music, like nothing's discreet anymore. So it's just like,
if anything, like I guess would you what in more detail, like what do you mean like nothing is discreet? Like what would you mean?
As far as like everything as like people doing drugs, like, I only smoke weed. I ain't never did any other type of drug. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, people don't care about saying, oh, I did coke, I did lean, like, all that. Yeah. And that's all that's in the lyrics. That's motivating the younger generation to want to even try that.
Right. Like
you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like, don't motivate the younger generation to want to even be a part of that. If anything, tell them, no, the drugs ain't cool. Y'all telling them the drugs, I'm leaning off it. Like, it just sounds depressing.
So pretty much what you're saying is like we need more like people who are like J. Cole, more people who are like Kendrick Lamar, like Childish Gambino, because they don't
Larry
even
June.
promote. Like, we need to get another Meek Mill.
It's all
rest in peace, brother. Like, sucks that he passed that. I heard an actual report saying that he was killed.
Yeah.
Which, not surprised. I'm like, bro, like, he didn't have a history of using drugs. So for them to just kind of say, oh, he did an overdose, I think that's one of the main things people kind of go off of when they're trying to cover stuff up.
Like, yeah, it's a bunch of BS.
Here's a good one. How do you feel about the Michael Jackson incident? Just to kind of like throw this out. So how do you feel? Like, do you believe that like that it was an accident or that somebody had him like taken out?
Honestly, I've heard so many stories, and me personally, I really didn't like research into the story that deeply. So, but I heard he was already doing the drugs. It just was like a bad situation that happened. So honestly, we'll never know. I don't know. But I feel like everybody was wrong in that situation. If he really was doing the drugs, like, we'll never know, honestly. So it's just like, y'all can't get mad at somebody for giving somebody drugs that they wanted.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so
I mean, if somebody was paying me a grip of money,
yeah. So
I would just.
would I not give him what he asking for? Like I'm struggling.
Yeah.
He over here chilling. He wants something I got, and if he
Right.
paying for it, then to each his own. Like you know what I'm saying. But I mean, for some things I wouldn't condone it because I'm just that person. But that was a job for him.
Right.
That wouldn't have been a job I would have took. You know, just for me being, I'm not money hungry. So it's just like I'd rather people do the right thing other than do the wrong thing.
Right.
Because most of the time, people doing the wrong thing because they battling something else.
Right.
That they running from.
Right. Which is true.
So if anything, I'll be that support system to get you off of that, composed to just keep feeding you.
Yeah. Just keep taking this money right here. I'll keep. Don't worry about it. You be good.
No.
But like, yeah. Actually, do you feel like because that's something I've been thinking about for a while too, to be honest. Like, for example, hip hop, you know, how it is today. Do you think it's a way to kind of like mess with the black community at all? Because we obviously know that like hip hop is obviously derived, you know, going towards, you know, people of color, you know, not people of, you know. How do you do you feel like that?
That is what?
That it is like kind of like trying to like have us do like you were saying, like, you know, how they have talking about disrespecting women and doing the drugs and that stuff.
It's because they don't want us to be smart. They don't want us to be on their level. So it's like when you educate the people who's not used to being educated, that's gonna be a problem. That's a threat. You get what I'm saying? Like, we all can't be educated. But the thing is, hip-hop is not just for blacks. Like, if you look at it, like, even Travis Scott, 21 Savage, Schoolboy Q, all of them, most of their people who's buying their tickets is not blacks. Not African Americans at all. Most of them, they, you know, it's very diverse. But we don't spend money on concerts and all that. We rather get, you know, the free or the cheap stuff. They ticket is damn near $200. Even these concerts now, like the Day in the Life in Vegas, those is $500. I would say probably 10% was blacks, if even that.
Yeah. Man, that's interesting. But like, I actually like Schoolboy Q. I actually like.
I really fuck with Schoolboy Q.
Man, the first album.
He a real one.
I can't think of the album, but I know Collard Green was the first I heard. That was the first. I was like, what?
See, so Oxymoron.
Yep.
Damn, Crash. I like the new little album. I've been listening to that.
Yeah, I haven't heard the new album yet.
Yeah, the new one not. He got a few good ones on there that I listen to on the regular.
I'm gonna have to check that out too, for sure. But yeah, like, it's the reason why I kind of asked that question though. Like, I honestly felt like a lot of the stuff is kind of targeted. Like, not more of like the music can be like it's to anybody, but more of like targeted towards the black community, because like when you see on TV, like, even I can admit, you know, as a kid, like, I was like, that's pretty cool that he has a nice car and all that stuff and all that, and like, yeah, it's us to make that decision, but I feel like if it's being fed to us on a daily,
it's easier for us to make that decision exactly because it's being fed to us. And when you stuck in the same environment where people, one thing I can say, even just it's kind of taking it off topic a little bit, but okay, so old school black families, they too stuck in their ways. You get what I'm saying? Like,
in what way would you say?
They too stuck in their ways with just being, like, I don't know how to describe it, like, because I'll have to go too deep into it. Okay, so.
Sweaty rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We going as deep as we going to get.
It's just like, okay, so let's just even say for, like, smoking weed. Mm-hmm. Most black families are black grandparents or something like that. They'd be like, oh, y'all smoking that weed and da. They will talk more mess about weed smokers than they would the ones before us being on crack or something like that, which is way more effective than weed is. We just getting high. It's just a stress reliever. It's a pain reliever. Right. It's healthy for us. As far as crack, like, my teeth can be out. I can lose weight. Like, it's, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like they have to understand that now, even now that it's legal, the consumers now is older white folk. So it's just like, why is it okay for them to do it, but it's not okay for us? Now they're starting to be more open with it. So it's just like, it's that type of stuff. I feel like even people being stuck in their ways, like me even moving to Vegas, it opened my eyes to a lot because Vegas is very diverse.
Yes.
So
it is
I'm
true.
from an
Yes.
environment where it's not very diverse. It's either blacks, Hispanics, and then a sprinkle, of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, you stuck with your own kind. And being stuck with your own kind, you not getting educated off people who don't know nothing. So
That is true. I agree. Like from where I grew up at, like, which is interesting because like there, like it was just whites and blacks. That was it. You were either white or black. Like you had a few Hispanics sprinkled in the mix. Same thing, a couple Asians in there too. Like I had a couple Asian friends. Like got a little. I wouldn't say like I'm not gonna claim to be Asian. No, I'm not gonna say it. Like I had a friend say you one of us now, like just because I was cool and shit. But
yeah.
like it like coming out here from there, it really did open my eyes to a lot of different things. Cause like the diversity is a lot different. There's different cultures out here. Everybody's coming from all across the world.
It's a mix of everything.
Exactly.
Like
it's crazy.
That's one thing I can say, which I love it because you looking through somebody else's lenses now. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
You get a small little perspective of how they went, like how they lived their life and how, just different, even family wise. Like you would think just blacks only have crackheads, prostitutes, and but we all have that. Like it's not just, it's more focused on the colored folk because we more ignorant about it.
Right. I don't know though. I feel like I don't. I feel like it's hard to say that we are in a way, because I mean you got all these other people doing crazy stuff like all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like when you think about it, when I think about it, I wonder like we're gonna bring it up. So like for example the shootings, for example, like were those people on anything when they went to go do it, or were they sober?
Nope, sober.
Like really?
Sober.
Like
it was more so like. Okay, you talking about the school shootings?
Every single one. Every single shooting. Were all of them sober? Were all of them like...
I'm not sure.
And that's the thing.
I want to say yes because they the little kid. Most of them was kids. And I think more so it was emotional type of situation.
True that. And honestly, like when I thought about that, I was like, a lot of those shootings that actually did happen, like, it's crazy. It's sad that's going down. It's sad it's happening, and it's like,
it's crazy.
People they don't want to like say that's the T word per se compared to like someone from a foreign country like they.
But it is because you came in on some savage shit, ready to blow everybody's head off. I mean,
and it's a psychological thing.
You're a terrorist towards the school. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, just recently, it was on the news, a little 11-year-old in Henderson took a gun to school. Like, first off, how do you even have access to it?
Right.
And why do you need to take it to school?
Right.
So it's just like...
It's probably because, like, kids are cruel, man. Like, that's one thing, like, that I could attest to. I can say for sure.
Yes.
Like,
I mean... Yes, they are cruel, but it's your environment too. And sometimes when it start at home, that for sure it start at home. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't communicate with their kids. A lot of kids don't feel connected to their household. So it's just like if you don't have that connection at home, and then you go to school and you don't have no connection there.
You just don't connect.
You get what I'm saying? Like you got an emotional battle that you fighting.
Yeah.
So it's just like fuck everybody. I mean, I'm laughing, but it's sad and it's scary. You get what I'm saying? Especially me having a kid myself. I would just be like, oh my goodness. So one thing I do, I really communicate with my daughter.
Okay,
like
that's good.
We have open conversation. Even though she only 7, she understands so much. You get what I'm saying? But it's certain things like even I ask her questions where she don't even know that I'm asking her for certain reasons. Like, baby, how was school? You know, it's simple things that you can do like that. Like, oh, well, how is this person? Like, how do you feel about that person without you letting them know that you really, really trying to dig for
Right.
information? You get what
Right.
I'm saying? So it's just like, on a parent standpoint, you have to be in tune with your kids because if you not, you don't never know what they going through. So
Which
it's
is
just
true.
like,
Which is like,
and bullying is at an all time high now. So it's just like,
I honestly feel like it's about, I don't know. Like I've dealt with some crazy stuff growing up. So I mean, like for me, like I feel like it's zero the same. Like when
yeah.
people say like I've been the
It's
kid
just
where,
more
yeah,
notice on it
it's
now.
it's
But
more
really, they
media. It's
still don't
more
take action on it because it's just
no.
like I've had a friend who their kid was getting bullied, like to the point where I wanted to go and fuck somebody up.
Right.
You know, so it's just like
Part of me
the
feels
school didn't handle it the right way, and I feel like that's something that should be taken serious, especially if you a parent yourself. You know what your first reaction is, like, who fucking with my kid?
right.
So it's just like, take that in consideration. Like, if I'm coming to you and trying to be an adult about it and telling you that somebody bullying my kid and y'all kind of just brush it under the rug, so now I'm gonna be like, fuck you and whoever bullying my kid, and I'm coming after all of y'all as a unit. Cause if they're bullying my kid and you not trying to protect my kid, I feel like you a part of that.
And
And
honestly, I feel like in some cases, I feel like they are because a part of me at one point I was growing up, I thought about what if this is more of like they're trying to cut out people in life, you know, like because like not everybody's gonna make it. Like you think about it in school, they establish it to kind of like give you the idea that oh, everyone has the opportunity, but really. Not everybody can have opportunity to do everything. Not everybody can have a chance to go out and make this happen. And then because they in a sense they separate us. They segregate us. They have us do certain things. Like you think about it, like even in school, they pretty much at the point where like there are cliques that get established, groups. Instead of everybody hanging out, like no, this is my group. This is my group of people, and then people are just like and it just kind of goes on. Like even after high school, like how many jobs have you worked to where like you have people who have groups and people who are like act like they're in school.
Now.
You know? Yeah, so it's like
yes.
it's crazy, and it's just like they do that, and then the whole bullying idea, like they just kind of like they just get all the people who just I guess can't to them cut it in life, and so they're kind of just cutting them out to where everybody else who gets past this part, now you're past the first phase. Now you got to do the second phase, and that's just the adult life.
Yeah.
Because in a sense, I feel like whatever you don't do as a kid,
it's gonna follow you into your adulthood.
And like I learned that because like when it came to like I didn't really like press anybody until somebody tried to put their hands on me. When they put their hands on me, that was like I was a switch.
That was me too.
It was like that. But like when it came to like words, I didn't really say anything because one thing I've learned is that no matter even if a bunch of kids could be wrong, if there's a bunch of them, there's nothing you can do about it. Like you're just the oddball out the group, and that's it. You know, and it sucks because it's like there's so many people out there that are not being heard. You know, they're not
are scared to even be heard.
Exactly, because they don't know the repercussions. Because like if they do say something, a group of little kids might come after them. You know what I'm saying? And it's just it's hard. You know, and granted, like I made it. You know, I made it, and for those who also made it too, it's great. For the ones that didn't, I feel bad for them. You know, it's hard. It's tough, and I realize that it don't matter where you are, like wherever area you at, like everybody deals with it in their own ways, situations, whatever, and everybody has their own circumstances. Everybody has their story. Like it's
just
crazy.
Gotta know how to handle it.
Exactly.
But how do you know how to handle bullying and being in a position where you really ain't even supposed to be? Especially dealing with kids as a kid.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So
if anything, we're just I guess how I look at it, like we're literally all still kids, you know, in a sense. We're just older.
Just different, yes.
Just like only difference is now is that like we're at a point where like we're certified or we're at a point where we can mentally, logically, like emotionally make the decision to do these things now because we've lived a life of some people had it easy. Some people had it really rough. Some people, you know, kind of were in the middle. And then some people just, so it kind of just going from that and everybody in their own background, it's like, I look at it like, I look at it a lot of ways, to be honest. But like I guess just to kind of just, before I drop it, a box of toys, everyone's in it, and once you get to that certain point, we're just throwing another box. The world is a box of toys. We're all the toys. And everyone's just throwing a box in there. You're that toy. Now you gotta like work with the person that's in that box, and like either it's communication or whatever it is you got going on, or just what the kids. Every toy is different. No toy is the same. And honestly, and that's something I actually talked to one of my other coworkers about, and he was like, "Do we believe in like similar personalities and whatnot?" I believe yes and no. Yes, because a lot of us do have similar traits, but the reason not is because of experience and circumstances. It's due to so much experience that like changes your perspective on life, and changes your perspective how you see and look at things, and it kind of shapes, in a sense, your personality.
Shape the person that you are. Yes, that's even so for me too. Like, I feel like even I was nice for a long time, Dream, and then it got to the point where I got tired of people kind of just stepping over me. So it's just like, the more you stomp on me, it built up to the point where it burst, and now I just straight up like, it is what it is. This is what you're not gonna do, and this is what you can do. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have to let people know how to treat you, because the type of person I am, I show everybody respect. I don't judge nobody. I might talk a little shit, but that's just talking shit. You can talk shit about me. You get what I'm saying? But I'm not going to really, truly judge you as a person, because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all are flawed. We all done been through something on different levels. So it's just like, who am I to judge you for something that you went through that you had no control over? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So if anything, I take from people, like, that's even why I like even talking to older people, because it's just like they've been through something. You can give me some knowledge on something that you've been through, where I can, take a little of your knowledge and know how to deal with it with my own situation. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Not just going in it blind, and actually, you know what? Like, if this situation does happen to me, I know how to handle it, or I think I have a few tools to know how to, maneuver. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all about mindset, and I'm just big on respect. So it's just like, I respect everybody. So once I feel like disrespect, then it's just like,
That's I feel like, and like, I would say over the years for me, it's been more of like, I realize like a lot of people sound positive, and I'm happy that I am, but like, it's more of like, I guess the only time I'm really negative is toward myself, and it's more of like, and that's the shifting point that I've been working on. I'm actually getting better with, but it's just more of like, I'm still a trusting person, but it's more of the wall's definitely up now. I'm not gonna say the wall's not up. I'm like, why is this person talking to me for? What do they want?
You just gotta knock a little right. You just gotta knock a little hard. Don't give up on the first couple little tap taps.
So I'll mention that, because it's like, and I guess where I'm going with it was like, it's something like Kanye West was trying to go ahead, and he was kind of trying to say, when he kind of like derailed a little bit, when he was talking about like, everybody's a slave to their mind, everybody's a slave to their experience, stuff like that. That's kind of what I got from that.
I have to give it to him. That is true, because sometimes we are in our head a little too much. We think too much on what we could have did, or where you just kind of just go with the flow of things, and then you just pick up and drop off whatever you need to on the way.
Yeah.
That's just how I see it. Like, I don't know. If you rock with me, you rock with me. If you don't, then hey.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, man. I definitely agree on that.
Yes.
But you know what? I actually want to ask this question, because I've been thinking about this for a while. Like, do you like believe in like spiritual?
Yes.
Besides like meditation, as of like the astral plane of sort, like, do you believe in that at all?
Plane?
Like at the astral plane, like to give it like a, I guess, so the astral plane will be like, you have your physical, right? Your shell, and the astral plane would be like your spiritual, like you would go, like if your body, your mind would leave the body behind, and you were like to go either how they would explain it with like you would go explore like an area or whatever, go somewhere else,
Yes,
but you can come you
yes,
can come
I'm
back.
Christian. I believe in God, and I'm big on spirit, energy, all that. That's what I work off because it's real, and I didn't see God work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've dealt with depression. I still deal with anxiety every once in a while. Like, if I'm around people that give me bad energy, I'm ready to slap somebody. So it's just like I kind of stay away from that, and I pray about it, and
Okay.
but I do believe in that, and I feel like it's real because I've experienced it. Like, everybody is not on the same thing. It's more on your mental. It You got to really believe in it for you to really see and feel. So for that, like, I know people who's not into that and really don't see no, like, don't believe in it, or atheists or whatever. I don't judge you. I'm
Right.
just gonna always preach to you.
Right.
So
Right.
that's just what it is.
Okay.
But yes, strong believer.
All right. Like me and this is just kind of like reading the Bible a little bit, and then like also like listening to like videos and talking to people about it, like just kind of interpreting it. Like I guess like I actually so in a theory, any theory that I listen to, they Jesus for example, like they say how Mary she didn't have they didn't conceive through like normal means or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. Like when the theory is that Mary and Joseph they they did conceive, but not physical, but in the astral plane. Like they were able to meditate, leave their bodies, and actually were to conceive Jesus through that way. Thus, that's why he was able to do those things because they brought him from a different higher plane down here, opposed to just giving birth naturally
Like we
through
do.
like we do. So like, and that's kind of like what was explained, and so that could, in a sense, that could explain why he was able to do. Because we don't know if he ever actually did those things or not.
We just
But
told that.
exactly, and at the same time, if he did do it, then that would make sense because I feel like if you think about it, if you come from a higher plane, like you would be able to understand that. Like right now, we just know, like for example, we see the world through third dimension, and even then we do that. Like we still look at the world in a two-dimensional way. Cause like for example, like I'm looking at this mic, it's obviously it looks. I can kind of see if I look around, I can see the 3 dimension of it. But if I look straight at it, it's just more of like what I see right
In
here,
front.
and that's pretty much it. But there's a lot more
You gotta
to
believe
it.
into it.
Yeah, and so like, so coming from a higher plane would make sense because I remember somebody else said that like the theory is that if you're in a higher plane, you're a lot more intelligent. Per se, I don't necessarily believe more intelligent.
You
But I
on
would
a
say
positive vibe more than anything. You don't let the negative like kind of steer you from looking in a higher plane.
yeah. But I mean like I guess more of like a higher plane from like the third dimension would be like the fourth dimension, and I guess the get into that would be like so besides you knowing up down left right which is third dimension like you have like the fourth dimension which is time, and to understand like do you remember like seeing like a computer back in the 90s
Yeah.
when it had that square
The big little,
that square
yeah,
and it like formed and stuff like that?
Mm.
Like I forgot the name of that square, but that's the square that like just that describes the fourth dimension.
dimension.
Yeah, that because like in a sense like you can see everything, the in, the out, it's constantly moving and whatnot, and so it's like that would be interesting. Like what would we see if we could see through fourth
I
dimension?
know.
And it's like at the same time, it's like would things be obviously it would be the norm for us because what we used to seeing, so we get it, but how they kind of explain it would be like it'd really be hard for us to understand, which I can get because it's like if you were to go to like a two-dimensional plane, which is like flat, you're pretty much looking back and forth. And the way they explained it was that like, let's say you went into like a sheet of paper. If you were to put your finger were to go into it, your finger would just go in it and be flat. They would just see you as in just like one direction. Like let's say you're looking this way, they're only gonna see this,
And
not all of it, not the whole entire shape.
like I don't want
And
that.
so it's like it's interesting for it to be explained because it's like when you think about it, that's kind of like what it is here in a way, but it's not. Instead of it being flat, you can see kind of like
The
the whole,
whole.
but you only can see so much of what you can see that's in front of you. So and it's a lot. It's a lot. But I'm still trying to wrap my head around, to be honest. Like and like
I feel like we still all gonna keep searching.
yeah, and like at one point there was a thing to where like so in I'm just throw this step first. So like so there's a fifth dimension, six, there's a seven. So in the fifth one, they say that if you can control, you understand the fifth dimension. That at that point, not only would you be able to understand time, to where you can control your age, because they say at one point we used to be able to do all this.
Really?
We used to be able to do. We used to be able to live and walk on this earth as long as we wanted to the point we were like, you know what, I don't want to be here no more. It's time to go, and we would just go.
See,
at one point,
you know why? Technology is messing
yeah,
us up.
and honestly, like it's helping, but it is messing up because like it's taking everything we used to be able to do, and the whole theory behind it was, and I watched a video about it. There's other theories about it too. Was that so? At a certain point, like there's a polar shift in the world that happens every like 10,000 years or so. And what happened was that we weren't ready for that polar shift, and so the minute the shift happened, everybody's memory was just wiped. Everybody forgot, and so we just kind of just.
I mean,
back
if
at
you
the bottom
think about
and
it, it do make sense. It make a little sense to me. But it's just like look at how way back in the day, they didn't have none of the stuff that we have now. And look how young and good they used to survive composed to now where we have all this access to all this stuff that's supposed to help us, but really in actuality, all this shit is killing us.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like somebody gotta start thinking about that. And
Right.
that's mostly what a lot of people been trying to tell us, like put us up on game on that. We're too focused on the materialistic type of things where we not even focused on our temples. Like our bodies is our temple. We supposed to treat our bodies way better than this. So it's just like forget the stuff that we feed your own temple, your own like good vibes, right. And you know.
And honestly, like when I think about it, like and you're absolutely right. They do preach it. It's in you hear that church. I don't know if that's the. I'm assuming it's in the Bible because I've heard a lot of pastors preach that a lot of the time. Your temple. Body is your temple. Like I've even heard monks say it. I heard people just different religious groups say, you know, and like that kind of makes you wonder, like at the end of all, like, and I remember like I talked to a Mormon about that. Hey, McKay, shout out to McKay if you're. I don't know if he's watching, but like he was telling me 1 point years ago, like they're like discovering that all these religions kind of derive from one thing, and it kind of came to like, you know, everybody kind of took their interpretation, they kind of just ran off with it in their own thing, which would make sense. It sucks, but makes sense.
Look how many more religions it is now.
Right.
Just out of the blue.
Right.
Like where y'all come from?
Right. Like,
which I mean, I don't knock nobody for their religion, but it's just like where did it come from?
And at the end of the day, when you think about it, like anybody, and this something, and this really hit me hard because the whole martial arts thing was like anybody can technically start their own religion. You know, to this day now, religion is actually a business, which is crazy. And the reason I realized that was because now. Like, so I used to work at Sam's Club, and like I had people come in with a business membership card, like for a church. Religion? For a church. Whew. Oh, this is my business membership for my church. I'm like, are you serious? I'm not mad at them, but it's just it blew my mind.
Yeah,
that, but then again, when, like back in the day, like religion, it was about people. It was a community. People came together. They came and they wanted to,
getting you ready for the rest of the week.
Yeah,
because Sunday is the first day of the week, and you're supposed to go and get your blessing, get your healing, get your mind right. Right. And then you know, but now
it's just gotta.
Yeah, it's so much. I don't even like going to certain churches because I feel like a lot of people put on a facade.
Yes, to get your money.
You get not even that. Even like the churchgoers, the people who preach the gospel, as they say, most of them are the biggest hypocrites. I feel like most of them are, as they would say, the devil in sheep's clothing. Just the old sayings.
So,
but
actually, you know what? Quick story before I wrap this up. The reason why my dad's mom, my grandma, she stopped going to church was because And this blew my mind. Cause my
Really?
grandma, she went to church for years. I'm talking about. I wouldn't be surprised if the mug open and she was going like that. I mean, she every Sunday she was one with the straw hat on. I'm here with my dress
Front row
on,
seat.
front row seat. I got my peppermint candy with
Oh, my nanny stayed
ain't,
with
ain't,
them.
ain't the soft one, the hard ones.
Yes,
all
the
that.
old school
But
ones.
she stopped going because like they literally like the pastor was a pimp, and all the sisters were there. They were all working for him. So that's crazy.
Yes.
That's insane. But all right, I'm gonna wrap it up right here. But thanks for coming to me. I really
Yes.
appreciate you showing up. Being a part of this. Suede Rabbit Hole. Like I said, episode
Okay,
21.
we gonna have to do this again,
Heck
Jareem.
yeah.
I gotta be prepared for the next.
Heck yeah, for sure. But all right, y'all. Like I said, just leave a comment, smash that like button. Also subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Support, show that love, and like I always say, stay fresh, stay smooth, stay cool, and it's all a dream. I'm just rambling. So I'm just rapping. Peace. We out.